Hello and welcome to the Sunshine Sessions. I'm your host, Riddhi Patel, the founder of Sunshine Lab. Today we have a very interesting guest with us, Niba Kungar Mittal. She is a fashion designer by profession and a parent influencer by passion. She has two lovely children, for which she has created a page called Mommyhood Travels, which is an Instagram page which is very informative for all of us. It's based around fashion, fitness, and tips for parents. So please welcome Niba.
Thank you, Riddhi, for having me.
She used to live in New Delhi and has currently moved to Ahmedabad. We are going to ask her many questions that will help parents. So we'll start with our first question. Please share your thoughts on exposure versus traditional education.
Exposure-based learning, I feel, Riddhi, is more focused on practical knowledge, on real-life experiences, more focused on critical thinking versus our traditional education, which probably you and me have also gone through, based more on structured classroom learning, wherein the kids are given a set curriculum to study. It's like a classroom confined kind of a learning. Having said that, I feel both the approaches are equally good in their own respective ways. There's no right or wrong approach to education. So parents, I feel, should go in for an education system for their kid, which goes along their belief system, which is in accordance to their lifestyle. I feel to each their own. So there's nothing wrong or right about it.
Okay. Now, I've noticed what you post on your page. So with regards to that, now for your children, what your approach would be? How early would you start exposing your children to fitness, and or how early do you start activities, and which activities would you start with?
I feel fitness plays a crucial role in every kid's life. If I remember my own childhood, fitness wasn't a very integral part of my childhood because it was just like in any other hobby. But since the time I've had kids, I've actually realized, how significantly important it is to introduce fitness at a very young age. I feel it all starts from tummy time, then crawling and then walking, running, playing in the playgrounds. And then when your kid grows older, maybe you can, introduce more age-appropriate sports to them. So I feel fitness plays a very crucial role. Also, I feel me as a parent, I've led by example. My kids see me get up every morning, go to the workout. Sometimes I've taken them along because I couldn't leave them alone at home. So they know how important workout is for mama every day. No matter what, she will go for a workout. And that's how I feel, you can incorporate fitness, love for fitness in your child. And because they see that fitness is a part of your lifestyle, it is not something that you have to do, or a kid doesn't have to do it just because mama and papa have told him or her to do. So that's how I feel fitness is really crucial. Yeah.
That's a really good thing, that you're doing, and what you said about lead by example.
And they even if I get up late, sometimes I've had a late night, I still make it a point that even in the evening, I will work out. Sometimes they say that, Mama, why do you have to go for workout? You missed it in the morning. But now they know that it is really important.
Important.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Now this is a interesting question. Again, like you said, to each their own, but I would like to know what your take on it is. Whether you've been a yes mom always, or do you have your own?
As much as I want to, I feel, being a yes mom, it's always obviously more fun. You get to be in a good books of your kid. But I feel I've never been totally a yes mom, and no parent can be, because parent needs to guide their own kid every step of the way, right?
Of course.
They need their occasional grounding, they need to be taught about boundaries, how to deal in situations where they need to learn how to respect each other's boundaries, how to if they've been said no to, then how to deal in such situations. I feel a yes parent, this kind of parenting approach is not a very healthy and not a very sustainable approach to parenting.
Makes sense. So, since you travel a lot, what is your secret to making travel fun and stress-free, but with a child? Because whenever you're traveling with a child, there are lots of variables that you have to take care of, right?
Yes.
So, how do you optimize that?
I don't think there's any secret per se, but it's just from experience. You learn as a parent when you travel with your kids. And now they've grown older, so I travel more often with them. I think the most important thing would be to plan in advance. plan as much as you can and book everything in advance before you travel, to avoid anxiousness when you're actually there. Most importantly, choose a kid-friendly destination wherein, you have a lot of different activities for your kids depending on the interest of your kid. Obviously, the weather plays a crucial role. And also during traveling, I carry a lot of their entertainment. When they were younger, I used to carry, those coloring books and activity books. Depending on the age and interest of your child, you can carry entertainment which is enjoyable to them. And sometimes I feel it's okay to not engage in child activities throughout the day. Just let them be, let them be a bit bored so that they can explore on their own, and you also have a little time for yourself.
Okay. Any particular places that you found that were really child friendly to suggest to young parents?
Disneyland in France was one. That was something that me and my husband and both the kids, all four of us, thoroughly enjoyed. And yeah, but we obviously we try to choose kid friendly destinations, but throughout the day we feel we shouldn't be engaging them and overstimulating them with activities throughout the day. So they need to learn how to relax, how to get bored, what to do when you're bored. Explore yourself.
That's also part of.
And one more thing, I feel screen time is a very crucial thing during traveling. I don't really give them screen time on a daily basis, but during vacations, there's no escaping from screen time.
And it's your vacation also, right?
Yeah, so I kind of relaxed my screen time rules there. But yeah, also I feel when you're traveling with kids, you can't do multiple things in a day. So you need to be very flexible with your agendas as to what you want to do the next day. And if your day doesn't go as planned, it's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to complete the entire list with your kids.
Makes sense.
Because your kids have a limited energy, right? I mean, you never know, your child gets cranky one day, your child is in a good mood, bad mood. So depending on your child, you take a call and get through that day. Also, one more thing, I try to talk with my kids and discuss my itinerary with them.
Okay.
Now that they're older, they love to get involved in the planning process of the trip, so they know that what they're in for, what is planned for them, and they're not caught by surprise. I feel that they feel more independent and more involved this way, and they love discussing about what they're going to look forward to, what they're going to do.
And they're learning also in the process.
Of course, yeah.
That's a really good tip. How do you keep your child engaged and learning while exploring new places?
So like I said, I keep interacting and talking about the places we are going to. Also, while we are there, they love to interact with other people there, love to try out different cuisines. Earlier, my kids were very hesitant on trying out different cuisines, but now they're, I'm glad they're trying out different cuisines now. So just exploring around, making them aware of different cultures, traditions. One thing I particularly do is that I try to explore all the outdoor play areas that they have, especially in Southside India, because the weather permits. In India, it is, it's just morning, evening sometimes. But if you're outside India, I try to Google and find out the nearby outdoor play areas which are really fabulous.
Yeah.
And they love doing that. The indoor play area is also good, but I'd like to explore the outdoor play areas more, so that they get more of their outdoor play.
Parks and.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Now this is a little sunshine based question, but do you incorporate STEM learning into your child's playtime at home? And how?
I think since the start, it's been there with me. When they were young, they used to play a lot with bubbles. I remember their favorite thing was, since some time back, putting these pencil shavings inside the ice cubes and then, forming different ice cubes with it and playing with that. So this is something that they did when they got out of boredom. Basically, I never had to really push them to do it. Then there are board games now. Current favorites are Uno and Sequence that they like to play. Then there are, in monsoons, they like to make boats. There is everyday maths at home, counting your toys, sorting your toys, counting things with me, exploring nature. Sometimes we go for after dinner walks. I try and take them for a hike once in a while in winters, at least once I try. Yeah, so like everyday things, nothing too complicated. But
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah, little things in your daily activities.
Okay. Now, going back to travel, because we're approaching summer, how do you decide on which location to travel to?
Like I mentioned before, obviously it has to be a kid-friendly destination, something to do for kids for sure. Also, I try to find out activities that they haven't done before so that there is some learning, it's not repetitive for them. Yeah, so basically just try to, get them more involved and,
Is there like a group discussion with them where you want to go?
Of course, currently
Yeah.
that is what is going on because
Okay.
summers are approaching and we're deciding where to travel.
Okay.
And my elder daughter is almost 9 now, so she is the one who is just deciding everything
Oh.
now. But yeah, they love to be involved in the process and makes them feel more independent and involved in everything that they're doing. Like you said, being a yes parent, so you sometimes you have to say yes,
Yes, to-
for them to boost their confidence.
Confidence, of
So
course.
that's how their decision making skills will also improve.
Okay. So your kids are old enough to now
Yes,
plan your.
now they are.
So now it's you're passing the baton on.
Yeah, but we still need to be involved in the process.
Of course.
But they're really enjoying the decision making process of their vacation now.
All right. Moving on. How do you incorporate the balance between extracurricular activities and studies?
So I feel kids thrive on routine, and in order to have a balanced routine, a balance between hobbies and studies, it's very important for a parent to have a proper plan in place. And by proper plan I mean a practical plan wherein you calculate your school timings, you have your sports in place, you have time for studies, you have time for free play, which is again an integral part
yeah.
of childhood. I feel a parent should be practical enough when you're deciding what your kid should be doing. Also the interest of your child matters a lot, I feel. You need to push them to be able to try a lot of other things, but if they don't have any interest, then it's of no use. They might be very interested in a particular sport, they might be interested in arts, so they might be interested more in some study related subject. So depending on that, depending on the aptitude of your child, you should balance the schedule of your kid.
Okay. So these days you have a lot of options available, right, for extracurriculars. So if you say, for example, your child is interested in something, now post school there's only X amount of time that a child has, right? So if they're interested in something, but then you want them to try something new also, how often do you rotate those things? Or do you let them do what they're interested in? What have you done?
I feel for me sports is very important, and I've never made them enroll in a study related class. I can only say for myself, because I feel they do enough in school study related. So I've always enrolled them in a sport or an art or a dance kind of a class. I feel 1 hour every day, maybe twice a week or thrice, and if you think that they are really good at it and they want to continue, then 5 days a week and they can continue that thing for long. It all depends on how much interest your child shows in that activity.
Okay. How do you make sure your children understand cultural values?
So first of all, we ensure that we celebrate every festival that comes. Earlier we used to travel during festivals, but after kids I feel me and my husband have been on the same page that we need to introduce the cultural significance of all these festivals to them. Though we're not very religious, me and my husband, but my in-laws keep doing all of this, and I'm glad that my kids are getting inspired by them. These days we've been doing the Navratri Puja every evening because Navratris are going on. Yeah, so they see how we celebrate, Ganesh Chaturthi, Raksha Bandhan with all the cousins together. And then I read some books to them also, why we are celebrating what we are celebrating. So they know the cultural significance behind it. And also they gorge on the amazing food that is cooked, which is the speciality of that festival. Kids should know your culture well and understand the significance of it, because there's no point in just celebrating without understanding the logic behind it.
All right. That brings us to our last question. Are you more of a parent or a friend to your children?
As much as I would love to be a friend to my daughters, because let's face it, it's more fun being a friend to your kids. I feel my responsibility towards them as a parent comes first. Kids need proper guidance every step of the way. You need to ensure that they know the difference between right and wrong, and that's something I feel a friend cannot do in most cases, because they also have a limited knowledge and limited experience. So I feel both the roles are equally important, You need to assess the situation. You know, in certain situations, I feel a no is important because your kids need to know how to control their emotions, how to, manage their impulses. When you set boundaries, they need to know how to cope up in situations where you've said no and their desires are not met. But I feel you shouldn't go overboard also and be too strict with that. And I've observed that when I say yes to my kids, it boosts their confidence a lot. And they also know that mama will say yes when the request is reasonable enough, So yeah, I mean, I feel both the things are important.
That is a really interesting thing that you said, that they know the difference between their request being reasonable or not, because that's something that I'm struggling with currently.
So even if you're out shopping, so they will, earlier they used to just, obviously like a child will just come up to you and say, I want these 10 things. But now they know, I've told them that whatever you need to buy, you need to see the logic behind it, whether you really need it, what is the price tag, what will you do after buying it. So then now they know that they need to, keep all of these things in mind before asking me to buy it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a good tip. Words of advice to parents through your experience as a parent.
I feel the best thing a parent can do is to lead by example. So whatever you do, your kids will blindly copy you no matter what, because you are their role model. I've been a very avid reader, so I've been reading books, and that's how my elder daughter has started reading books too. And even be it 6 o'clock in the morning, when she gets up, she has to read a few pages before she starts getting ready, and that's how my younger daughter also has taken up on reading. Be a good example, set a good example for your kids. You cannot just push kids and keep telling them that do this, do that. You have to set an example for them. That's what really has worked for me.
All right. That's great. All right. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us.
Thank you, Riddhi.
And that wraps it up. See you again next time.